Populous. Solid at the back. Chance up it in the egg. Finish it off. And yes, she does. Bird on the counter. Looking for a good cross. Oh, she has a shot. She does. And there it is. And it's in front of goals. Cross comes in. Opportunity there. Oh, it's a good finish. It was a good cross. Shot nicely. Puts the ball in. Comes out. Good work. Allen brings it back in the middle. No one there. Can they get a shot off? And they do. And it was good defending. Mazel has a chance now. A through ball. Thirteen kept running her chance. One-on-one. Yeah, can she finish it off? Good goal. Nice ball in. Can she finish it off? Yes, she does.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to this NPLW season review. Myself, Alex Sivkarovski, and my co-host tonight is Hanh Solo. Hanh, welcome.
Hi, Alex. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure.
How are you going today?
I'm going good, despite the news in regards to Victoria being in lockdown. Look, we've got to keep staying positive and safe. Hopefully everyone out there is also safe, and if you need any help, please reach out. There are plenty of services available, and we want to see everyone back on the pitch in the coming weeks. So hopefully everyone else is well, and we thought, why not do a mid-season review of the catch-up of the NPLW and see how things went in the first 7 rounds. We don't have a name for our show, so we're not sure what we'll call it, but if you have any ideas out, anyone watching at home, just let us know. We're happy to hear it. And then we can obviously call the second part for this, the new show. So, 2021, a new season. Hopefully that we could finish or complete the season, unlike 2020. How did you see this one or plan to see this one work out?
I think the teams were quite hungry when they came back. So the first half of this season, everyone was just so eager to play. We had a lot of W League players come on board as well, so and other players moving on, but it was just everyone was just so hungry to play. So you do see that on the pitch, and you do see a lot of kind of players upping their game as well. So you can't tell they have been training for a whole year or training in their backyards or in their local park. You could see that skill coming out.
Yeah. And obviously, Corley United being the 2019 champions, it's maybe the longest running champions we've had. They look to obviously go back to back and really cement themselves as one of the top teams in the entire country. And they would obviously been fancying themselves. So, speaking of which, we'll kick off in round 1. And then obviously the first game that we will review is obviously Corley United versus Alamein. And Hanh, how did you see this game go?
As mentioned, teams being hungry. This team, came from a all season lead. They won, the triple. They won the league, the Community Cup, the Nike Cup. So for them, they were just moving on to the first round going, hey, this is our game. Let's continue on. So, against Alamein, it just looked like they were in their element. They played at their home ground in Kilo. It was quite like a kind of rainy, tough conditions, being the first round. But I think for them, they came straight off the bat going, let's score as many goals. Let's, try to get on top of the ladder, as much as we could. So they went off with an amazing start. Alamein, obviously, still finding their feet. I think being against a team like Calder, I think they were just a bit intimidated by kind of the lineup that was there. But no, pretty good game for the first round.
It was good to see opening game. You obviously want the reigning champs to get off on a good foot, and then what a performance it was. They ended up winning from the result was 5-1 against Alamein with Laura Spiranovic scoring 2 goals. So she's off to a flyer there. So good opportunity for Caller to really push on here. And they've shown they got the goods and really set the tone for the remainder of the round, because the games followed. Obviously, we had Box Hill winning 4-2 over Bayside United. Heidelberg United losing at home 3-2 to Football Emerging. And wow, South Melbourne really came out of the block strong, winning 7-1 against Bulleen Lions, who were tipped to be one of the top sides.
Yeah, I mean the matchup, what a opening round. It was quite an even playing field, as you would say. If you're looking at today's ladder, that's kind of like very even playing field, as you would say. You got at the moment South Melbourne versus Bulleen. I mean, it's a big win for them, but that's first and second. And then you've got the bottom two at the moment, Box Hill against Bayside. And I think that's Box Hill's first win and only win for this season. And Bayside had that chance coming in, but I think in the end, Box Hill proves to be a bit better for them against Bayside.
So it was a good return to football for everyone. I'm sure the ladies that were on the pitch that day were really glad to finally get the season underway and give us something after having 2020 being interrupted and obviously cancelled. We'll move on to obviously round two, and the game we'll focus on is Box Hill versus Heidelberg. Again, this one, another good game. Heidelberg taking this one out 6-2, and a big result for Heidelberg because obviously the pressure was on and making sure they continued on and really didn't fall too far behind from obviously the top two teams.
No, well said. Again, they kind of lost against FE Emerging the first round. They're like, oh, wow, we got to really work hard now. Like, what's going on? I think for them, they went, all right, let's stick to our plan, get things kind of moving. I think Ali Torre scored a goal in that game. So for her, being quite rare for a midfielder or someone in the back line to score a goal. So it was quite, sorry, wrong one. It was an own goal from LA Torre against Boxer. I'm reading the wrong one. That was a goal that, was unfortunate for them. But then everyone went on the scoreboard for Heidelberg. You got everyone from Keely to Danielle. I think she scored like 4 goals in that game. So that kind of put on top of the leaderboard for most of the season. And she only got knocked off only recently, being the top goal scorer against... was it Melissa Ayres from South Melbourne? So I think Danielle was like, this is my time to play. So it was a really good matchup on that day.
So Calder United off to a flyer, but then losing the second game against South Melbourne 3-2 at home. Alamein taking out that game against Bayside United 4-1. And FE Emerging coming out real strong, winning 3-1 against Bulleen Lions. So it's a real goal fest in the first 2 rounds, which we sort of expected. I guess everyone's just so excited to be back and be playing that they just playing out of their skins. And we head to round 3, and in this game we look at South Melbourne versus FB Emerging. And in this game, it was really the pressure on that. South Melbourne really fancied themselves playing against FB Emerging, but on the given day, it was just FB Emerging far too strong, winning 5-0 at Olympic Park, which is not an easy feat against a strong quality squad with the goal scorers. They just had a field day. How did you see this one, Han?
Yeah, probably not South Melbourne's probably best game of this season. On paper, it does look like South Melbourne have the better lineup, but I think it's maybe a mental battle on that day. You had players that were just ready to score, but yeah, I didn't know what happened to South that day. I think probably they were just behind the 8 ball. Probably have things to work on. Maybe a few players were missing as well. But I think FB Emerging, that was probably one of their stronger points for the season.
Yeah, definitely 3 from 3. So they were looking quite good earlier on in the season. And in the other results for that week, we had Alamein 1-1 against Heidelberg. Calder United back to the winning ways 4-0 against Bayside United. And Bulleen Lions coming out 7-0 against Box Hill. So that was a big strong result for them. So after 3 rounds, it was looking like the competition, started to be pretty pretty big gaps early on. If you look at it from up around 3, we had merging 3 from 3, and there was Cordy United on 6, South Melbourne on 6, Heidelberg on 4 points, Alamein on 4 points, Bulleen Lions on 3, Box Hill on 3, and Bayside United on 0. So if the emerging coming out the stronger out of everyone as we head to round 4. And in this game, hard, we look at Alamein versus Bulleen, with Bulleen Lions winning 3-0. How did you see this game?
I think Pauline finally kind of found their feet a little bit. They did have to travel all the way to Knox, so it's not the best feel for them. I think they're used to playing at home, so when they do travel away, especially in these locations, it's kind of unfamiliar territory. So I do feel they do struggle a bit. They did go home with the win, but they did also concede 2 goals on that day as well. But if you think about it, it was back then where players didn't move around too much. I think after the 4th or 5th round, there was a lot of kind of movement in players moving from different sides. But on that day, was it Alana Janjeski kicking 2 goals for them. So for her, it was just great to see her skills come on board for FC Bulleen Lions. And we know that I think she's moving on to Perth Glory in the start of the next season. So that was pretty exciting for her. But yeah, I think this is when you know the ladder shaping up to who's going to be the top 4 and who's going to be the bottom 4 or bottom 2, sorry.
You're definitely right. So Corley United winning 5-0 against Heidelberg. South Melbourne back to winning ways 5-1 against Bayside United, and FV emerging 6-2 against Box Hill, and FV just coming out of the blocks real fast. They're 4 from 4 and really set the tone for for everyone else to really need to match after the 4 rounds.
No, great call. It was the start of the season. FE was just unbeatable, I would say. So I think from then on they kind of shifted a bit, and a lot of teams just got involved in the goal scoring. But yeah, the start of the season, FE were just on fire.
And we move on to round 5, and this is Heidelberg versus Bayside United. I did this one, and really good game here. Heidelberg finally getting a good result, 5-1 against Bayside. They showed on the day that they are able to score multiple goals and ensure that they're back to winning ways and not really losing a lot of position on the ladder. With goals from Danielle Wise, who continued on with another hat trick, with Sydney Allen and Bonnie Davis chipping in, and Rachel Sturton getting 1 for Bayside, who unfortunately did leave and move down to Preston Lions. So it was a good result. Danielle Wise just continue on with fine goal scoring form. And other results, we had South Melbourne 3-1 against Box Hill, and surprise result of the round was Alamein taking it out 3-0 against FV Emerging, and Bulleen Lions taking that game out against Calder United 3-0. So it was a big upset with Alamein over FV Emerging.
Yeah, like mentioned, FE Emerging was on fire, and then this was kind of a bit of a slip up for them. I think I'm not sure what it was. I think it was both teams' home ground, so it wasn't kind of an advantage in any way. I think it was more Alamein just had things going their way on that day. I think we had a few. Elena Vachki was a good one to see her kick some goals, but to stop FB Emerging from scoring is very rare to see, because they guarantee every game do have a goal in them. Just on that particular day, it didn't work out for them in the end.
So that's a surprise shock result. Obviously, closed the gap a little bit with South Melbourne on equal points, and then Calder United and Bulleen chasing them down on both on 9. Heidelberg, Alamein on 7, Box Hill on 3, and Bayside yet to register a point at this stage from round 5. We head on over obviously to round 6, and the game that we will look at this one is the Bayside United versus Bulleen, and in this game, Bulleen come away with it 3-0. How did you see this game?
It's not too bad. I mean, Bayside, they did well defending the game. Obviously, Bulleen's got, really strong forwards that, guaranteed if you give them the ball, they'll definitely be using that to their advantage. Bayside, there's games like this where they don't concede too many goals. So especially being their home stadium, they did well to kind of hold that structure and position to not let Bulleen kind of slip through their defense. So they did pretty well considering. And Bulleen, I think, with few goal scorers in their forwards, they're kind of unstoppable sometimes in situations like this when they play kind of like the bottom kind of tier teams. But no, good day in the end. Just unfortunate for Bayside, couldn't get a goal in them.
And in the other results, Calder United winning 2-0 against FB Emerging. That's their second back-to-back loss. So started to slip away there towards round 6. Alamein winning 2-1 against Box Hill. We mentioned Bulleen Lions. And in the big derby, Heidelberg losing 4-2 against South Melbourne at Olympic Village. So after round 6, and the ladder was starting to look a little bit, you could see who the top teams were, with South Melbourne taking the lead on 15 points, and next Calder United on 12, FE Emerging on 12, and Bulleen Lions on 12. And then Alamein in 5th place on 10 points. So, they're only 2 points off at this stage after 6 rounds to be in the top 2. And then Heidelberg on 7, Box Hill on 3, and Bayside United still yet to register a point at this stage. So we move on to round 7, and Hanh, this is a game that you did, and between Box Hill and Calder United. Talk us through this one.
So Box Hill being, such a young side compared to Calder. So you kind of look at this youth team against a more experienced senior team that's, Calder United winning the last 3 seasons, for them coming in on paper being a better side. But Box Hill being, a young squad, didn't do too bad in the end. And Erin Hudson being the keeper for that squad for Box Hill has done some magic. She done such incredible saves in that game. It's like Matilda's worthy, dives that, you seem, top bins she had saved. So for her, that was kind of her game. If someone would have won man of the match, it would be her, Erin Hudson. I mean, they do have a young squad, but then they do have players like Erin Kite that, is pretty awesome to watch. But unfortunate for them, Calder being on the other hand, Harriet Withers, if you give her the ball, she could, score from range. She could give you the assist. I think the skipper, Alex Sinclair, had 2 goals in that game as well. So it was a good day for Calder. I think for them, it's a confidence boost to see that, their senior players or their leaders can step up. But yeah, awesome game to watch. And as mentioned, Erin Hudson saved the day and kept the score quite low on that day.
And in now the results, FE Emerging 5-1 against Bayside, South Melbourne 3-1 against Alamein, and Bulleen Lions taking out 3-2 against Heidelberg. And we look at the ladder after 7 rounds, and we have some clear leaders: South Melbourne on 18 points, followed by Calder United on 15, FE Emerging on 15, and Bulleen Lions on 15. Alamein in 5th on 10, Heidelberg on 7 points, Box Hill on 3, and Bayside United at this stage on 0 points. And that completes the first 7 rounds. And like we mentioned, we just went through the ladder there. It looked quite good. South Melbourne just looking to run away with the league at that stage. Who was a surprise for you out of the first 7 rounds?
The surprise was FE Emerging, dominating in the first couple of rounds. You can't tell if you're looking at games now to compare to earlier on in the season. So that was my big surprise. I think, teams like Bulleen Lions had quite a slow start, probably find their feet, but once they did win the big games, that's when they were like, all right, this is our season now. And I think when they know that South Melbourne's kind of going to be in front, you're like, okay, I think it's time to play. But yeah, the surprise was FB emerging at the start of the season.
You're definitely right. That was my surprise pick, coming out of the blocks first and really set the tone for the rest of the league and put them on notice that if you don't lift your game, they're going to run away with it. And they've got 2 losses in a row there, which really pegged them back a little bit. South Melbourne started to really push on and extend their lead and really made sure that they're the team to beat. They've obviously penciled in as Calder being the pinnacle, being the reigning champs, and South really targeting to be the next in on the throne and making sure that they're the champs at the end. We look at obviously top goal scorers, and it's no surprise Melina Ayres on 17 goals. She's just was a scoring machine. This is obviously to date. It's not after 7 rounds. To date, she's on 17 goals. And then we have Danielle Wise on 11, Alexandra Sinclair on 10, Lucy Johnson also from South Melbourne on 9, and Tiffany Iliadis on 9 from Bulleen Lions. So really, Ayres is the one to catch at the moment. And do you see her breaking the magical 30 goals at the end of the season?
Magical 30. Oh, I love it. I'm not going to be surprised if she reaches it. Is there like another prize that you win? Is it like a bigger prize if it's 30? I don't know.
Not sure, but it'd be interesting to see how she comes away with it. But definitely set the tone. Just don't know how you can stop her. I've watched a couple of games and commentated a few of her games, and just the smarts about her. Really gets into position. Not afraid to shoot from outside the box. Will test the keeper, and really just taking her game to another level, and really pushing herself to be the top goal scorer in the league. And it's not an easy feat. There are quite, if you look at the name, Danielle Wise, despite her team, not doing so well, is still putting him away. And Alexandra Sinclair on 10 goals too, so not too far away. And, her teammate Lucy Johnson has scored 9 as well. So it looks like South Melbourne at this stage are looking quite good. Is there any disappointments for you at this stage?
I think Alamein, I thought they were going to be a slightly better team. I mean, obviously they're probably sitting in the middle of it all. And Heidelberg, I think I'm a bit disappointed as well. They have really good games, but then they have really poor games. So they, sometimes when you suspect them to be the game winner, they end up losing. I don't know if it's just the consistency. And we've also probably didn't have their skipper Stephanie Galea for a lot of the season due to injury. And I think also, her getting that red card against South Melbourne's game also kind of was a bit of a disappointment. So it's just the way the flow of those two teams, I thought they would be probably a bit better this season. But just to shows that, if you're not here to play in certain times, it could really affect your team as well. And then in the end, you can see that in the results.
Yeah, definitely right. Heidelberg are a better team when Stephanie's in that. She's just a real driving force for them. And you're right, consistency has killed them. A lot of the games I've watched and commentated, they really, like you said, you don't know which Heidelberg's going to turn up. There'll be days where they're playing out of their skin and they don't get a result, and there'll be a time, like against which we'll review in the next show, they beat Pooler United 1-0 when they just went up once or twice. So inconsistency there. Look, we'll do a part 2 of this. If any other players from any other sides want to get in contact with us and be on the show, we're more than happy to have you guys on. We'd love to do interviews with players during this downtime to get your thoughts on the season so far. So if you want to reach out to us, either myself or Han, we're more than happy to set it up and organise a time. We'd love to hear from the players and coaches as well. They're really the coaches as well. We'd love to hear from them. And hopefully we get the season back on track. I know there's a bit of a pause at the moment, and hopefully we can see everyone back on the pitch. But if anyone out there is struggling, please seek assistance. We've got plenty of fantastic services that are able to help. Get in touch with Football Victoria as well. They've got great services on offer as well. And, we'll hope to see everyone back on the pitch real soon. Stay positive, stay safe. And obviously, there's a few people we want to thank, Hanh, in particular yourself. I can't thank you enough for coming on, and obviously in the next show. Also, Onflow Media for helping us out with all the editing, and in particular Football Victoria for their footage. We can't thank them enough for their support to allow us to produce this type of show. And hopefully we can get a few more out before the season's end. So stay safe. Hope to see you soon. And like we said, if any players or coaches want to get in touch with us, please do message us, and we'll love to hear from you. Do a quick interview and see how you're going and the season going, and then we can hopefully be back on the football pitch in no time soon. That's all for tonight, Hanh. Like I said, I want to thank you. It's always great to have your input. You're a fantastic commentator, and it's so good to have you on board. And we'll hope to see you soon, and we'll be back for the next show to wrap up the remaining rounds. So stay tuned for that. And like I said, stay safe and see you all shortly. Thanks for watching.